joining us right now, fresh back from Dodger Stadium, and I hope it is fresh. Ladies and gentlemen, Buster Olney of ESPN and ESPN Radio. Good to see you. How are you, Buster?
I'm doing great. Great to see you again.
I did not see you. Great to see you again, too. I did not see a photograph of you in Dodger Stadium, so I don't know if you're wearing the same clothes. I'm assuming you have gone back.
I don't even know if I'm wearing the same clothes, right? I just rolled out and I came to see you.
And I asked you before, but share with everyone, when did you get back to your hotel room?
At 1:30 last night, and then my first radio hit today was at 5 o'clock, and so I was up at 4:45, and then you know how it goes. You just roll through.
I know. So we're part of the car wash. Fantastic. We'll take it. We'll take it. I love being back on
but I
ESPN
turned down
with
other
the car
shows.
wash.
They were like, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? And then I'm like, nope. I'm committed to go see Rich.
Thank you. I appreciate you honoring your commitment. Listen, man, how many World Series have you covered now?
Oh, gosh.
What number is this for you?
Tim Kirchin keeps a count. I don't. Okay. It's somewhere in the 20s.
Okay. Where does Game 3 of the 2025 World Series rank?
Probably, for the games that I've covered, probably the second best game ever. 2011, Game 6, David Freese ties the game, 2 outs, 9th inning. That's the best game I've ever seen.
That was the Joe Buck famous, we'll see you tomorrow night in honor of his dad.
It was phenomenal.
Sure.
Last night was amazing. Look, we had an 18-inning game in the 2018 World Series. That was bad baseball. It was 7 hours plus. And there was no traffic in extra innings. There were 2 teams. Everyone was trying to hit home runs. Last night, there was traffic all over the place.
Yeah, I even threaded out that the Blue Jays got thrown out for the cycle. You know, like at every base. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, but no, I mean, good Lord, there's so many ways to go here. But since you mentioned extra innings, 12th inning, bases full of Blue Jays. And Dave Roberts, wanting to go lefty-lefty, brings in Clayton Kershaw for his first ever career extra innings appearance with Sandy Koufax in the crowd. And he gets Lucas to ground out to Edman, who flips the ball with his glove. I was just screaming from the couch. Unbelievable. That was unbelievable, Buster.
It was. And by the way, Sandy Koufax, 89 years old, stayed for the whole game. So before the game, I saw Clayton in the Dodger clubhouse, and I'm like, so what are you going to do in retirement? He's like, I'm going to be a dad. And I mentioned to him, he is just having so much fun.
Yes.
Like when he was a young player, if he had a bad game, he could be super grumpy. He's just enjoying the experience. And so to see him, when Edman flips the ball with his glove, I don't know if the cameras caught this, but he turns around and sort of a silent, like, yes! And he goes into the dugout, Dodger dugout, and he's clearly making jokes at his own expense because his teammates around him are just cracking up the whole time. And I interviewed him after the game on the field, and he was just so happy. Like, having had that experience, perhaps the last one in his major league career, what a moment.
I mean, for him to be put in the highest of leverage situations, right?
No room for error.
That. And for him to make the pitches and execute and then, you know, yada, yada, yada. There's 6 more innings after that. It was truly unbelievable. But all that said, there's only one unicorn in that stadium.
Yeah.
And what is it like to be in a World Series stadium? Explain to everybody listening to us on ESPN Radio or at home on Disney Plus, ESPN, and everywhere else. What is it like to be in a World Series stadium watching Shohei Ohtani be unstoppable? What is that like for you?
You have to remind yourself that you're watching the greatest player who ever played baseball. And I think he's in the conversation for the greatest athlete ever. And what has especially come out in this postseason is, for the first time, is Shohei, I mean, wildly talented, but in this postseason, for the first time, we're seeing competitive rage. Like, we saw it in Tiger Woods. We saw it in Michael Jordan. We've seen it in Tom Brady. But there was a game against Milwaukee, game 2 of that series. He strikes out with the bases loaded, and he's going back to the dugout, and you could see in his face he was so angry. And the next day, he goes out on the field, and he takes batting practice in Dodger Stadium, which he never does. And it's clear he's angry. And Dave Roberts, the Dodgers manager, told us that he's asked, like, how much is Shohei aware of the narrative around him? And by that time, there was conversations about, you know, does the pitching take away from his hitting and vice versa? And his interpreter told Dave he hears it all. Like, he absorbs it all, like we always heard about Jordan. And I think that's what we're seeing right now, is that the talent, and now with this hyper focus understanding how people are watching him. It's so cool. And I mean, to have a major league manager after the game basically say, yeah, we're not pitching to him anymore. He's that good. John Schneider, the Blue Jays manager, after walking him 5 times intentionally, saying going forward, that's how he's going to deal with him. That's incredible.
Yeah, and it's not like there's a 200 hitter behind him. There's Betts, Freeman, and Smith behind
Hall
him.
of Famers.
So you are intentionally walking an individual to potentially set up a big inning. Right. And also, forget a big inning, half the time that they did that last night, it was in a all you need is 1-run situation.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like I mean, I've seen Bonds. I know Buck Showalter walked Bonds with the bases loaded once. I mean, that's the only thing you can compare it to. And it's interesting, though, too, Buster Olney from ESPN Radio and ESPN here on the Rich Eisen Show, that you mentioned for Ohtani competitive rage, because I would also use the words effortless joy to describe the way he plays the game as well. And so you've got a combination of effortless joy and competitive rage. Holy cow. Honestly, I'm now out of words to describe it.
I look, when, a lot of times the producers on SportsCenter will say, hey, we want to talk about Ohtani. What do you want to say? And I'm just like, it's simple. He's the greatest we've ever seen, and no one's close. And look, forget what idiot sports writers like myself think, okay?
Okay.
When you see the reaction from other athletes to Ohtani, right? LeBron James tweeting out about him, J.J. Watt tweeting out about him, people who are understand how phenomenal and the range of skills he has as an athlete, and he's impressing them. That tells me everything.
And then the video, I don't know if you saw this because you're, running around sleeping and then talking, of Dave Roberts addressing the team in the clubhouse afterwards. Did you see that?
I heard about it.
Well, yeah. Where he's addressing the team in the clubhouse afterwards, sort of like a football head coach, an NFL head coach after a big win. And you could see how he says that we've got a game later today, and he points to his watch after commending everybody. That you hear it from managers and coaches all the time. We need everyone in here to win. And last night, they actually did, right? Both teams. I'm getting goosebumps even talking about it. It's so rare in sports that these moments get met, that you want to see an epic game and you actually witness one. That he says, we got a game later today. And in the background, you see Ohtani mimic being a pitcher, like he's warming up and he's throwing like an 8-year-old would. An 8-year-old would, and somebody off camera screams, and our pitcher just reached base 9 times.
Freddie Freeman was the one who yelled that? Yes.
I mean, the guy who won it, So he's even taking a cue, or technically, if you will, a back seat. Unreal. It
is like something you see in Williamsport, except these are the greatest baseball players in the world doing this. And that's the response of other players to Shohei that you see right there. And to going into tonight's game, I'm just fascinated by the pitching situation.
Sure.
Right? What will Shohei bring to the table? Because not only, I mean, when he was with the Angels, they would give him the day off before he made his starts to rest him up and to get him ready. Well, last night he played 18 innings. He was on base 9 times. He had this all-time great game as a designated hitter. And tonight he's going to come back and pitch. And it feels like there's a chance he might top himself.
Well, you need also length from your starters tonight.
Yes.
I mean, the Blue Jays are starting.
The pitching is in rubble.
That's what I'm saying for both
sides.
teams. And Shane Bieber, a former Cy Young Award winner that was acquired from the Guardians at the trade deadline by the Blue Jays, coming back from injury from previous seasons. You need length tonight, man, from both of these guys. And Bieber was just chilling out in his jacket. And Ohtani, I mean, I guess he was chilling out because he would just grab a bat and see 4 fingers held up. and so that leads me to my next question that a lot of people are talking about today is should baseball do something about the number of times you can intentionally walk someone? And I know we won't have a conversation about this about anyone else. Maybe Judge, if he gets as hot as Ohtani. And you want to see somebody like that hit for the fans who are staying up till 2 a.m, fans who are at the game. What do you think about that idea?
You can't do anything about it because in the end, even if you made that rule, then they would just throw 4 wide ones and he would walk to first base. I mean, we always have those situations where the manager or the pitching coach goes out to the mound and says, "Don't let the guy beat you." And so you could take away the intentional walk and alter that rule, but in the end, they're not going to pitch to him if they don't want to.
I guess that's true. That would just be like an
old-fashioned
way of doing
don't give him
it.
anything to hit, and which I think they told Sir Anthony Dominguez when before he gave up the game-timing home run, don't give him anything to hit, and he did, and that was it. And the Blue Jays were done at that point. They're like, we're not pitching to him anymore.
Do you think John Schneider is going to intentionally walk him to lead off the game tonight? Do you really think that's going to happen?
I don't believe that it's going to happen, but to hear John Schneider's answer post-game last night, where he's like, yep, you can count on this going forward. That was eye-opening to hear that. Like, he's that open about it. Because most of the time, they play coy, they're a little competitive, they don't want you to think that they're being wimps about it. But to hear John Schneider, I mean, he's waving the white flag. Like, no, we're not dealing with this guy because he's playing in another stratosphere.
Yeah, but you can't tell Shane Bieber before his first. Is it his first career World Series start? It's going to be, obviously, right?
Right.
Because I don't think that he wasn't on the.
He wasn't on the
Cleveland
16 team,
right?
right.
Exactly. So what are you going to tell him? First World Series batter is on first,
and
then you
got
to start to work.
And Shane would get it. Like,
you
they
think
all
so?
understand. Totally.
Really? Because I would think the competitive spirit in him would be like, to hell with that.
Right.
I didn't wait my entire life for this moment to just have the second guy, right? I mean, am I wrong? Don't you think?
You can't want to be. Do you want to have a guy on first, or you want to be down 1-0?
Right.
It's that simple. You think, TJ, they should walk him to start the game tonight?
Well, I mean, it all depends who they want to win.
Oh.
That's the perfect way to describe it, right? That's what John Schneider said last night. We're trying to win the game. We're not letting this guy swing the bat against us.
What about you, Felly? You want to? He's the Dodger fan here.
I mean, I want to see him, but I can't blame him. Guys get hit a home run every
And
time.
what do you think Betts feels about that? I'd love for you to ask him. Hey, what do you think about?
He would be.
That's no. I mean, this Mookie freaking Betts that you're.
Yeah, but he has
I
not played well this year.
And he has not hit well this year. And he certainly, I mean, the telltale sign with Mookie is if he's popping the ball up to the right side, it means his timing is off. Yeah. I think Mookie would be the type of person who'd say, I totally get it. Like, this guy is so good right now, I'd rather pitch to me than that guy.
Right.
Okay.
Does Dave shake up the lineup because of that? Do you have Freddie bat second?
You can't.
No, you can't back up lefties. Yeah, you don't want to back up lefties on that. I guess you could. He's always talked about the Teoscar tax. Yeah. That way you bring in, but not with a right-hander going tonight. I don't think they would do that. Who would you put second? No, I don't think you can. I think you just have to hope that at some point the Mookie starts to hit and responds.
Is Will Smith going to play tonight?
That is a great question. So I was watching two people during the game, late in the game. One was the home plate umpire, Mark Wegner. My God.
I thought he did a great job last night. I thought he was
actually
really good.
Graded well. That play early in the game when he was slow with the strike call.
That one, yeah.
That wasn't good. But generally speaking, he had an excellent game.
Yes.
In balls and strikes.
Right.
609 pitches. Whew. Out there for 6 hours and 39 minutes. Mark Wegner, what a great job behind the plate.
Do you know what his rating was? Have you looked that up yet?
Eduardo Perez, and I talked about that this morning. It was good. I can't remember the exact number.
Okay.
But I think it was only, out of 609 pitches, I think he missed only 18. That's pretty
incredible.
good.
That's great.
Pretty good.
That's good. Thank goodness for that, because that's the last thing you'd want to be talking about this morning, even though that was the first thing we were talking about last night. Yeah. Was like, hey, can you call strike two on a 3-1 pitch a little faster? I mean,
but to answer the question, yes, Will Smith, I think he'll play. I mean, it's that sort of thing where it's the time of year where they understand you got to be out there. It reminds me of a story. There's a World Series ended, I think it was 2017, and Brian McCann was catching, and he told A.J. Hinch, the manager, he said, leave Charlie Morton in the game for the bottom of the ninth inning.
Yes.
Because I'm done. This is the last inning I can catch. I am so tired. Let's get Charlie in there, and so we finish the game here.
And then what do you think the Blue Jays, how they respond and bounce back? What are your 2 cents on that? Because Dodger fans here think this is a wrap. The last time, Freeman homered in
Yes.
a World Series home game, it was essentially a wrap. Maybe, and certainly if they bring out Cube tonight to start the
Yes,
second home game of the World
indeed.
Series, that thing could be a wrap. What do you think about this?
I think home crowd hasn't mattered at all in this postseason. So I
Okay.
think the energy of the building doesn't matter.
Right.
And it was interesting. I saw a lot of people say, well, Dodgers have a clear advantage now. I don't necessarily agree because the pitching staffs are so screwed up by what happened last night.
But the whole thing about the Dodgers bullpen being their biggest problem and Achilles heel, and good luck trying to get through the playoffs on that front, they were dynamite last night.
They were good last night for sure. But Roki Sasaki, can you bring him back? Right?
Hoffman pitched 2 innings too.
I mean, both sides. So you don't know what's going to come out of that. And I am curious about Shohei. Like, we know that he is physically going to try to give it a go, but you do wonder, what is his stuff going to be like?
And what about Springer? I mean, obliques usually take weeks to overcome sometimes,
You
Is that
would
what it is?
assume he's done.
Wow.
You would assume, and that is a huge loss. Maybe the most significant, competitive issue coming out of the game last night was Springer being out. They do have an easy pivot point. They've been sort of shoehorning Bo Bichette into their lineup to play second.
Yes.
With this injury, he can go to DH. Now you put Isaiah Kiner-Falefa at second base, or go with some other way. I'm guessing Ernie Clement has been so good in this postseason, he could lead off for them.
Yes.
But I mean, George Springer is one of the best World Series hitters of all time.
Yeah, that's why he was booed lustily last night, although they also in Los Angeles think there might have been a buzzer or a trash can back in that day, but that's for another day. Buster Olney here. Can you stick around one more segment?
Yeah,
I want to talk about
absolutely.
the rest of everything going on. The other stories to talk about in Major League Baseball. Let's start with the Philadelphia Phillies. Schwarber's a free agent, and Bryce Harper appears to be a bit pissed off of the play of his assessment from Dave Dombrowski, basically saying, well, he didn't play elite. Well, it's up to him to see if he can still be an elite player, which was let's start with that one first. What was that all about?
It was shocking that he said that out loud. I mean, what he said was absolutely the truth. I mean, you get into your early 30s and you wonder, can a player continue to ascend, or is it we've seen a slow descent? But for the head of baseball operations for the Phillies to say that out loud, that was an eye-opener, and you're wondering what that's about. Now, in recent years, Bryce signed this 13-year contract without any opt-outs. He made it very clear from the first day he signed, I want this to be like a long-term marriage. I don't want to think about leaving the team. But in recent years, he's mentioned, I'd be open to an extension. Can we talk about an extension? And so the perception within the sport is that Dave was trying to get ahead of that. Okay, enough of the extension talk. You're halfway through your contract. You were starting to see some production slide a little bit. It's something that they're going to have to sort through as they go through this winter time. People around baseball think that the Phillies in the end will sign Schwarber because he's so important to the team, not only for the home run production, but for me, if I were to draw up a list of 10 best teammates that I've ever witnessed and heard stories about, Kyle Schwarber would be 1, 2, or 3. Sabathia would be in there for sure. Kyle Schwarber is worth every nickel, whatever they pay him.
Well, and so...
And he might actually help smooth over this situation with Bryce.
You think so? Because when Bryce Harper is called out like that, that's why I asked you, what's that all about? Because it sounds like there's an iceberg, just like everything in Philadelphia with A.J. Brown, right? Like that there's a tip, and underneath there's a massive piece of ice that, why would Dave Dombrowski, he's been around the block. He knows when he says something like that in Philadelphia or wherever he's been, that everyone's going to be like, what's up with that? And he just willingly said that. Is there some sort of friction that's happening there?
Not my sense. And the interesting thing is that Bryce has done everything that they've asked him to do. Like, he embraced Philadelphia. He's got the Philly Fanatic socks. He's got it on the bat. I know that when we've gone in there, because when these teams pay these guys $300, $400, $500 million, they want them to do other stuff, to be the face of the franchise. I tell you, Bryce has been so great, like wearing the microphone. If we ask him to do something, he always does it. He has embraced that part of it. But I do think that this effort to extend his contract, this might be where Dave drew a line in the sand. And I agree with your assessment of him. He's been around forever. He knows what he's saying, and there's a purpose behind it. We don't know exactly what it is yet, but, man, they got to work that out.
On behalf of all Yankee fans, Buster Olney, why do the Yankees keep running it back? Why do they keep saying, okay, we're close, we just need to tinker here, tinker there rather than just getting a completely new way of looking at everything? Why does that seem to be the modus operandi of Hal Steinbrenner, best you can tell?
So the first time I met you, I remember at Legends Field, you were at a Yankees exhibition game, and I could pick up right away that you were a big Yankees fan.
Correct.
You grew up with the Steinbrenner doctrine, which is if you don't win the World Series, then your season is a failure, right? That's comes from George Steinbrenner. Well, the person who doesn't believe in the Steinbrenner doctrine is Hal Steinbrenner, the son. He doesn't operate that way. He gives them credit for the fact that they haven't had a losing season since 1992. He gives them credit for the fact that last year they played in the World Series, that this year they had the second best record in the American League in a way that Yankee fans don't.
Well, I mean, I just to I guess broaden this out a little bit. I don't believe fully in the George M. Steinbrenner III doctrine, because that on occasion was extremely unhealthy. It put undue pressure on a lot of people. It made things ugly. It wasn't the way I would run a franchise. But I'm just saying a little bit of that is something that Hal could actually take here, because at this point in time, it looks like I'm genuinely concerned that Aaron Judge's talent is being ultimately wasted right now.
Right.
Because he's surrounded by a lineup that doesn't get on base for him enough. It's just all hit or miss. I thought what Buck Martinez said about the Yankees that Aaron Boone pushed back on, that if they don't hit home runs, they don't win. They strike out too much, they don't put the ball in play, and they don't defend very well. I thought that was 100% spot on. I also love Buck Martinez, one of my old ESPN colleagues that I used to hang out with and broadcast with. He was 100% spot on. And yet they don't change. They just keep the roster pretty much formed the way they do, and I thought they did very well, putting a roster together this year based on the circumstances. But I don't understand why they're just going to run it back again, right?
They're changing, but glacially. Okay. You remember the years 3-4 years ago? They constantly had those right-handed hitting lineups that you're like, that is not going to play in Yankee Stadium. And that was an all-or-nothing lineup. They gradually, by adding Jazz Chisholm, last year they traded for Cody Bellinger. They have become a little bit more versatile, a little bit more speed. But I think as they move forward, they're going to take more examples from teams like the Blue Jays, like the Milwaukee Brewers, where they'll add more players who are versatile, can play different positions. And let's face it, they have to figure out shortstop. Anthony Volpe, it's 3 years now. They've been waiting and waiting and waiting. He seemed to be an absolute regression last season. I know he was injured. They need to get a plan B in place.
Well, isn't Lombard coming up? Or he's too young?
He's too young now, but he is considered to be a superstar prospect. He could be up at the end of next year, beginning of 2027. But he's not ready for the start of 2026. I do think that they will have some changes. And, man, they are loaded with pitching.
Buster Olney here on the Rich Eisen Show. Map out the next 2 to 3 years for Paul Skenes.
So this is fascinating, and I want to make this clear, I have not talked to Skenes about this.
Okay.
But we see in the NBA, in the NFL, players will use their equity to force their way out of situations. James Harden, most famously. Paul Skenes is the rare baseball player who could make a serious problem for the Pittsburgh Pirates. If he wants to, and my God, where his situation is now, why wouldn't you want to, right? Where if he went to the Pirates this winter and said to them, I'm not signing here long term, I'm going to be a problem, I'm going to talk out loud about how you guys don't spend and you don't try to win, you need to get me out of here. I mean, to me, he has the stature to do that in a rare way in baseball, and I kind of hope as a baseball fan that he does. Does that make sense? I mean, you don't see it happen in baseball that often.
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting way that you attack that, and that's, I'm glad I asked you the question. So what's he? I mean, we haven't had him on. Nope. He seems to have the world by whatever he wants. What do you think he's going to do? What's his makeup like? Do you think he'll do that?
It would be against his nature to do that because he's pretty much one of those guys who puts his head down and does the work and he dominates. But he also is, because he's incredibly competitive, you assume at some point that's going to bubble up and he's going to be like, look, we don't have a chance to win here. I want to be out of here. And my God, if it came out that the Pirates were willing to take offers for Paul Skenes, all these teams would basically be backing up their prospect trucks and saying, whatever you want, come and get this guy.
Well, I mean,
There's 4 people here who want them on their teams.
Correct. The question is Skenes willing to defer all of his money into a retirement plan for 2055 so he can come here to Los Angeles? I mean, let's discuss that too. Is baseball willing to change the rules based on what the Dodgers have done, where they're signing all these players and saying, luxury tax-wise, help us out. We'll pay you down the road. We'll pay you when you're retired. And the players who are willing to say yes to that, is baseball seeing this and saying, we're going to change this rule?
So I don't think they're going to change it for this. I mean, there are, as you know, there's tons of examples of teams deferring salaries.
Yes.
So the Dodgers have done it better than anybody. And players now, the Dodgers have become a destination, much in the way the Yankees were in the late 90s. Guys wanted to go and play for that team.
Yes.
Guys want to go and play for the Dodgers, and so they'll defer money or they'll work out contracts to do that. I think the larger question is, will the Dodgers' financial advantage, how much will that drive the owners to push for the salary cap in the next labor agreement?
Oh, boy.
Yeah. And I don't think
How's
it
that
would
gonna
be.
happen?
You can't have a pure cap. There'd have to be something grandfathered in because there's such a disparity.
Well, the cap, there needs to be a floor.
Exactly.
Right. There would have to be a floor, and the players would have to agree to it. So it's incredibly
That's
messy.
never going to happen.
But,
I mean, really?
Yeah. I mean, we'd get into the weeds.
What would the players
to talk
get? What would the players get?
If you told the players, and I know this for a fact, there are players who are interested to hear what this would entail, because the message from the commissioner has been this could mean more money for more players. Okay, if they get 47% of the pie now,
yes,
and that goes up to 50% of the pie, and if you're a 0 service time to 2-year service time player, and you're suddenly making 2.5 times what you would have made,
right?
That's going to interest a lot of players. This issue actually reminds me a lot of the PED issues back in the 90s, where you remember the union leadership was like, we'll never do testing. Absolutely not. Privacy rights will never do testing. And yet when you go to the rank and file at that time, some of them would whisper, we need testing. Like, we want to be protected from this. It's a similar situation now, where the union leadership is, never will we have a salary cap, never will agree to anything remotely like that. And you go to individual players, agents, and they'll go, if it's more money for more players, why aren't we talking about it?
And then I guess returning to what you said about Skenes, that he has the ability to say, I want out, and he could force his way out based on,
I'm going to be a pain in the butt unless you guys move me out of here.
What about Mike Trout here in Southern California? I mean, will he ever just basically say, it's time for me to ring chase? And obviously, Philadelphia would take him in a heartbeat. We all know his ties to the area through New Jersey.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
With the amount of money owed to him, I think that it would be a case where the Angels would have to eat a lot of his contract. He's been hurt, as you know, a lot in recent years. His performance has gone down in recent years. I don't think he has the leverage to force his way out in the same way, because the Angels would have to eat so much money. Now, would Artie Moreno do that at some point? Maybe, but I think he's too far out at the end of his contract actually for them to consider that. And as you know, Artie doesn't.
No.
Artie Moreno is an unusual baseball owner in these times.
All right, last one for you. Again, Buster, I apologize for dragging you down to my level. The thing I love about you is you love baseball so much. So tell me, the amount that you love baseball, is it greater or less than the amount that Juan Soto loves money?
Oh, man.
Oh. What? It's a legit question. This man loves baseball. Juan Soto is established. The Met fan over here knows he loves money. Oh,
Everybody
my God.
loves money,
so
man.
You love baseball?
Bingo.
More or less than Juan Soto loves money?
Oh,
What do you
man.
think?
I'll answer it this way. Juan
Yes.
Soto loves money for sure, because I have left baseball on the table. Right? If I'm watching a fascinating 15-inning game,
Yes.
I will go to bed.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Juan Soto, on the other hand, He left nothing on the table during those negotiations. Is that fair to say?
Yep.
Why would he?
No, why would he, right? Why would he? Why would he?
Yeah, you're saying this like it's a
Why
bad thing
would
or
he?
something.
No, it's not. It's his choice.
No, not you, Buster. Definitely. I'm talking to
Yeah.
Rich. Like, you
Right.
know, he's got the problem with it because
This
his
guy
team
used to. No,
got.
you worked for the New York Times as long. Yankees or Mets? New York. So which town is it?
Yankee
or Met
Town.
Huh?
Yankee Town.
Okay.
I was promoted
So-
from the Mets beat to the Yankees beat. Put it that way, by the New York
Promoted
Times.
From the Mets beat to the Yankees beat.
For more money, Buster? Was that it?
Hey, don't leave him
Not
out.
for me. Not for me.
Talk about his love for baseball
just
and Soto's
wondering.
love for money, not Buster's love for
I'm
money.
sure Buster got a little boost in the paycheck
That's
too.
what I'm saying. The New York Times paper of record, the old gray lady says, "Do you want to cover the Mets, or the Yankees?" And well, which one is a better job? Clearly,
Buster didn't say it
this
was
guy
a better job.
Soto's a Yankee town. We know it. Soto says it's a Mets town. That's what sent me up the
I
tree.
covered the 97 Mets to prepare me to cover the Yankees. Mm-hmm. That would be the way to answer that
Ladies
question.
and gentlemen, Buster Olney. Enjoy the rest of this World Series. Yay or nay? Your best thoughts? Does it go back to Toronto?
Yes, I think it does.
Okay, so keep your passports ready, everybody. And this is my favorite thing, and we'll leave you with this. I'm wondering what a scorecard for an 18-inning World Series game looks like, and that's it right there. That your scorecard? Right? You have it on you. Right?
I
Do you
had to
have it on-
MacGyver that while I was waiting to run on the field. I'm standing there, and you see I've extended the columns to build the 18th inning on the left-hand side because I had used up all the columns on the right-hand side.
I love it.
It looks like Sanskrit, hieroglyphics.
No one can translate that.
Did you stop
no one
putting
can
the pitcher?
translate it.
You stopped putting the pitcher stats in, right? You just
Oh
heck with
yeah,
it, right?
Oh well, at that point, I mean, you're having 15,000 pitchers coming in
The
and out.
Dodgers used 10, the first to ever use 10 pitchers, right?
It's unbelievable.
You have
was
it on you?
crazy.
You have it on you right now?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Oh.
What are you going to do with this piece of paper?
Jessica Mendoza says I need to keep it, and I'm like, what in the world would I do with that?
We'll keep it.
Yeah, we'll
We'll have it here.
frame it.
We'll
We'll
take
take
an
it.
autograph
Yeah,
and frame it.
sign
on
it.
there.
I will do that.
We'll
Thanks
keep
for
it.
asking.
No, please. You kidding me?
Yes, great idea.
An actual, this is an epic game, like one
Great
of the greatest
idea.
World Series games, and Buster Olney covering it for ESPN Radio.
Yeah, I'll
Writing
get
all
a
this
frame
stuff
after
down.
work
Yeah,
for that.
sign it, and we'll keep it here.
Awesome.
Thank you for being here, Buster.
Well, it was
Really
great to
appreciate
see
it.
you. Thanks
Thank
for
Right
having
back.
me.
Buster Olney right here on the Rich
Fantastic.
Eisen Show. Check out the World Series on ESPN Radio. Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Check us out every single day streaming live on Disney Plus and the ESPN app 12 to 3 Eastern.